I'm going to be talking about 36 acres out here in Chelan, Washington. This property offers panoramic views of the North Cascade Range and a lot of room to roam. This is what I consider a legacy property that's going to be passed on from generation to generation. There's a lot you can do with a piece of land like this. I myself have been out here about a half a dozen times, so I'm pretty familiar with it. In the video here, I'm going to talk about common questions. I'm going to talk about utilities. I'm going to teach you how you can go access a property yourself and all that good stuff and show you what it looks like on satellite imagery and a map. So getting this started with a quick disclaimer as we go through some of these photos. This isn't legal advice. This isn't real estate advice. This is me simply sharing my thoughts and opinions on this property with you here today through my own due diligence and my 10 plus years of experience in the land industry. So just pausing for a minute here, we are looking right down on the property. I took these photos. Power's right in front of the property too. Like I said, these are genuinely world-class views from this property. There's a ton of flat topography, or a ton of flat land, I should say, and there is a little bit of topography in the back of the property, which is exactly what you're looking for. So like I said, this is a ground level photo. My iPhone 14 or whatever it is doesn't even do this justice. When you're out here in person, like the North Cascade Range, the enchantments, the peaks that you see out here, they're in your face on a clear day. It's really something cool when you're on this piece of land. There's a ton of flat usable space. So when we talk about a legacy acreage, a property that's going to go from generation to generation, there's so much you can do with a piece of land like this. I think you can do a lot more than that. I'd like to update some of these AI photos. This is a property you're going to do something more like this on, and you're probably going to have a shop. This is a property where you're going to have horses, a shop, you're going to have all your toys, you're going to have a nice home, maybe an accessory structure. There's a lot you can do with a property like this. Maybe it's a bed and breakfast, whatever it may be. We're in Douglas County, so we're right on the county line of Chelan and Douglas County. You're not going to have all the red tape you get in Chelan County. You're in Douglas County, right? A lot's going to go on a property like this. So when I think about the target audience here, this is somebody who's going to build a home out here, maybe an accessory structure, maybe a shop, maybe a barn dominium. They might have horses. They might be romping around in ATVs, storing their boats, things like that. You've got access to the Cooley Dam area. You've got access to Lake Chelan. You've got access to Wenatchee, Leavenworth. Everything is at your fingertips while being out here on a county maintained road in a rural setting. You don't get a lot of this in Douglas County. You go any further east, it changes really fast. This is really straddling the Columbia River and offers that unique topography you're going to get around the Columbia River. Like I said, look at the peaks out here. It's something that's really underrated. This is a special little pocket of Douglas County on the western side of that county that I think has really affordable prices compared to Chelan County, and you're getting about the same product that you're going to get in Chelan County, if not, potentially a better product, right? This is all the property down here, so you've got a lot of trees in this property too. This is looking, I want to say, east from the property. The original photos I had showed you guys, this is kind of looking maybe, I want to say northeast from the middle of the property. This is looking east. This is at County Road. You've got power on that road, and this is some of the views just standing on top of the property, right? Like I said, my iPhone doesn't really do it justice looking through some of these photos. So you guys can look through all these photos on your own. I'm going to move on and get you guys to the location of the property, helping you understand exactly where it's located. So like I said, pretty close to Seattle, but we're out here, around Brewster. Here's Chelan, Washington. As I zoom in, here's the property. It's just up McNeil Canyon. What's really cool about the property is that actually your drive into Chelan is through McNeil Canyon, which is a scenic drive. So it's a 30-minute drive, depending on how fast you go. Go a little bit faster, you might get there sooner, but you're just hopping on right here off Mud Spring, and you're going through McNeil Canyon, and you're crossing the BB Bridge down here. Right off 97. So it's an easy drive in to get to Lake Chelan. You've got access up to in Brewster, Washington. You've got the Cooley Dam over here, and you've got access to Twisp and the North Cascades too. So when we talk about a landing point, a home base for Central Washington, I think this checks a box. Like I said, you're not paying that Chelan County price tag, but you're knocking on the door of Chelan County, and you have access to everything that Central Washington has to offer, and the North Cascade Range, and the lake region out here as well. So I wanted to give you guys a bird's eye view of the location. Like I said, if we want to dive into Chelan, Washington, you can pop down here. It's 31 minutes. You go through McNeil Canyon. You hop over this bridge. It's a beautiful drive. I know there's a guy listing 5-acre lots in McNeil Canyon for almost $250,000. Like I said, you don't the prices change fast in Douglas County, and this straddles a line. You have less red tape and a better price, but basically the same product that you're going to get out there in Chelan County and that you're going to get on all these properties along the Columbia River that are priced at, $250,000 or more for something similar. This comes with county maintained road access. Power's right there at the road. Everything's ready for somebody to start developing on this lot or start using it. And the beautiful thing is you can go out here and park a camper until you're ready to start building. I think that's a huge win for this property, is that you don't need a home to start using this. You can go out here with your horses, with your toys, and start using a camper on the property, putting a shop up, storing your boat. Things like that can be done until your home is completed out here, or your acreage, whatever you're putting together out here. Like I said, you can get to Leavenworth in no time too. You're an hour and a half to Leavenworth. You're right next to Wenatchee. Just put it in. Spokane's really close. It's an easy drive to Spokane. That's typically where I fly into and drive over to the property. And honestly, getting to Seattle is not a big deal either. I flew into Seattle last time and drove out to the property in a day. It's no big deal. So you're an hour 14 from Wenatchee. You're right next to Brewster, things like that. So I won't spend much more time here because you guys all know how to use Google Maps yourself too. So going through the listing a little bit more, we went through a lot of these photos. I want to talk about the satellite imagery out here. This is a 36-acre property. Like I said, the topography it's mostly flat. You've got a lot of good tree coverage down here in this pocket. You've got some cool basalt boulders on the property. So it does come with pretty unique topography. And there is power. I want to say the power box is right here. So power is right here on the county road that takes you back to the property. So again, power is not going to be an issue running it to the property. There is no well that's been installed, or there's no septic system that's been installed. So for those who are ready to develop, you would be simply contacting a local well driller, installing a well on a property like this, or you'll be working with a septic engineer and putting a septic system in. So that's what everybody's doing out here. You can see there's other homes out here. They're not $1 million homes, more than likely. They've put wells and septics in. That's what people are doing back here. They're putting wells and septics in. You've got some other neighbors back here that have built. So again, there is no city water or sewer. You're not going to get that out here in the country. When it comes to water, you're installing a well. When it comes to sewer, you're installing a septic system. Those are basic things to land development. And this is what the property looks like. Like I said, the drive's really easy to come in here. You can see the road right here. You hop right back here on the main road. Then you go through McNeil Canyon, down through here. I'm actually backwards here. So you come out here on this maintained road. You come in from actually this way. Boom, boom, boom. You come on down south here. Actually, I'm way backwards. You come right in through here, and that brings you to the property. Then this is McNeil Canyon that brings you back down through into Chelan. You see that? So you've got a cool little scenic drive coming back down here. And then you cross this bridge down here in Beebe right here. So that's your drive back into Chelan from the property. And again, if you head east, you're going into Spokane. So that's what it looks like. For those of you looking to view the property, you're welcome just to use the GPS coordinates. Just plug them directly into, all I did here was plug these coordinates right into Google Maps. It's going to be really obvious based on the photos that I took. This is Columbia River Bluffs Road right here. This is Road E Northwest. It straddles between these two roads. You can see that in the satellite imagery too. If I go down and look at the property here, it's pretty easy to identify when you're out here if you're just using these GPS coordinates. You can park right here. You can see the whole darn property like that. If you want to use Onyx Maps, this is my favorite app for land viewings. You can actually see the property outlined if you have the elite version. You can see I've walked most of the property too. You can also see I've walked this. This is a 1-acre property over here actually that I do have listed as well for those interested. And that property is significant. That's priced really well if you're looking for a more affordable land investment. That's right here. That's something you could build on. Again, store your toys out here, manufactured home, maybe just a long-term land investment, but this is a really cool location too. And you're getting into this market, you're getting a spot to be at, a third of the price you're going to get in Chelan County, and you're straddling that county line. And I think most people looking for acreage like this are going to prefer to be in Douglas County. Like I said, there's red tape, there's more you can actually do with your land than in Chelan County. So like I said, some of these views, every time I'm out here, I can't get over the views. It's a property that I really like, and this is a bread and butter land investment. A lot of people are looking for 40 acres out in the country, close to a lot of world-class recreation like the North Cascade Range would have to offer. So, that kind of sums up the property. We talked about utilities. I've got a lot of this stuff listed in here. If you read through the description, I've got the parcel ID here. I've got the county website right here if you want to look into something specific you're looking to do. Utility notes all right here. Camping and RVs are allowed. We talked about that for immediate use. You can start using it this summer as a recreational property, storing your boat out there and things like that. During the winters, you're on your snowmobiles, right? You're exploring the North Cascades, things like that. So, and again, if you want to look up these GPS coordinates, just take a peek right here, and you can just plug them into Google Maps, whatever. It should be pretty easy to locate this property, right here. Yeah, so that's about what I have to share on the property. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you're interested in other land deals, I've got a lot on the website here. I'm happy to help you out. You can reach me here at 605-299-5553. I appreciate you tuning in, and feel free to go look at the property and call me with questions whenever you guys want. So again, thanks for tuning in. Happy land hunting.